So I don't know how many have ever drove a bunch of cattle to anywhere, but it seems like you always have a bunch quitter. There's always one that just does not want to stay in the group. They just want to quit you. If you're taking them to some place that's going to be better for them, more grass, or back home when the snows are going up high, well, you're taking them down to low country and that. It's the best for them, but they, for some reason, just want to quit you. In Hebrews 12, there was a group of people that wanted to quit. They knew there was something better, I'm sure. But they wanted to quit. They wanted to give up. And in Hebrews 12, let's read the first couple of verses there. Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles. And let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us. Let us fix our eyes on Jesus, the author and perfecter of our faith, who for the joy set before him endured the cross, scorning its shame, and sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. As it says, therefore, since we are surrounded by a great cloud of witnesses, let us do what? Throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles us. How easy is it to be entangled in sin? To be hindered? An example. Peter was in the boat and Jesus was walking on the water. Peter said, Lord, I want to walk too. He said, come on, get out of the boat. And Peter did. And his eyes were on Jesus, weren't they? What hindered him? All that was going on around him, wasn't it? The waves, the wind, the storm, that occupied him more than keeping his eyes on Jesus, didn't it? Byron's song, He Leadeth Me, what Hubie mentioned in his devotional, all the stuff that's going on around us in this world, the turmoil. What Paul mentioned, the assurance of our redemption in Christ. What Jack mentioned. We are what? We're his children. We're heirs. All of that is what we have. We have all of that. And yet, as Hubie said, the world still goes on around us and we don't understand why it's going the way it is. I mean, we always look back on the good old days, the way it used to be. It seems so much simpler. The Judds had a song out. Grandpa, tell me about the good old days. When times were simpler, they were easier. You know, in reality, they weren't really. This world is going through the same motions that it did 2,000 years ago. There was crime, there was drugs, there was all this stuff going on. There was killings, murders, rape and pillage. All that was going on 2,000 years ago. It's going on today. And the same problem happened back then. People wanted to quit. Just like it says here in Hebrews. They wanted to quit. They got entangled in sin. It's so easy for us to be in that same situation. To say, you know what, it's not worth it. It's too much trouble. It takes too much effort. Why can't I just go along like everybody else in the world is? They seem to be getting along just fine. It's because there's no hope at the end of their road. There's none. In order for us to make it to the end of our race, we have to have determination. As it says, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles. We have to be determined to do that. It's not just going to happen automatically, is it? When we become a Christian, does it just automatically, hey, we don't have no more problems with sin? Absolutely not. That's when Satan's going to hit us the hardest. That's when he's going to say, you know what, I don't want you near your God. I don't want you looking at Christ, getting the encouragement from Him. I want you to look at your neighbor. See how well he's doing? Concentrate on what's going on around you, all the good things. Satan doesn't want us to be determined to do what's right. We have to be willing to let all of the things that hinder us, we have to be willing to let them go. It takes dedication. You must be willing to run the race with patience. Run it with perseverance. Because it's marked out for us. We have to be determined and dedicated. 1 Corinthians 9. Paul is talking, verse 27. It says, no, I beat my body and make it my slave, so that after I have preached to others, I myself will not be disqualified for the prize. Therefore I do not run like a man running aimlessly. He's dedicated to running the race to the end. He doesn't want to be disqualified. I think some say he buffets his body daily. Some people get that confused with buffet. They buffet their body, but you have to be constantly dedicating yourself to the race. You can't slack up. You can't well, I'll get back to it tomorrow. I think it was mentioned Sunday morning, Dan said, what's the second Friday of the January, the Quitter's Day? It's real easy to go for a couple weeks, isn't it? And then it just becomes like, do I really want to do this? We can't have that attitude as Christians. We have to set our mind to it. We have to be determined, dedicated, and then we must have a direction. And there is only one direction. Only one. And that is looking at Christ. That's the only direction we can take. If we look to any other avenue, any other side road, anything, it's going to lead us away. Just as it said with Peter in the boat. What did he do? Instead of keeping his eyes on Christ, he looked around. He looked at all of the stuff that was going on around him. And he lost direction. super important today to keep our direction, because it's so easy to fall off the path. Looking unto Jesus, as it said there in Hebrews 12. Fixing our eyes on him. And who is he? He's the author and perfecter of our faith, who for the joy set before him endured the cross, scorning its shame, and sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. There is no one else that could have taken his place. He was the one that had to do it. And he did it willingly because he loved us. We should follow him willingly because we love him. If there's anyone tonight that needs to make a decision to follow Christ in scriptural baptism, or if there's anyone that has a need of any kind that the church can pray for, let that be known as we stand and sing our closing song.